Hello everyone! In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can make a beautiful beaded button like the ones that you're seeing here. They are so intricate and beautiful. They seem to have so many tiny little beads, and they are almost like fantasy landscapes. But these are not that hard to make, and this tutorial has been designed so that even beginners are able to follow this. I even show you some mistakes that I make so that you can learn from those. So this tutorial comes in two parts. In this part, I'm going to teach you how to make a fabric covered button, which is what you will need as a canvas for making these. So let's move these out of the way and I'll show you. I simply mean buttons like this, buttons that have been covered with fabric. If you happen to have buttons like this at home, then you don't need to continue watching this part 1. You can skip straight to part 2. If, however, you don't have these and you would like to learn how to make these quickly and easily, then please keep watching and I'll show you. So let's get on to it. In order to make your blank canvas, aka fabric covered button, you will need a little bit of fabric. Now, fabric scraps are wonderful to be used for this. And the kind of fabric that you should use is sturdy cotton fabric. The sturdier fabric, the better. Obviously not too thick because it might be hard to use hugely thick fabric for a small button. But a nice sturdy cotton fabric is the best. If you use too thin fabrics, they might rip and fray because you will need to do a lot of sewing on your button. So I have this piece. It's a very nice sturdy cotton and I'm going to use this. As you can see, it has some beautiful flowers in there, but I don't mind those now. I don't want those now. I want to just cover all of this with buttons. But you can also use this if you have these kind of printed fabrics. You can use parts of the fabric as a part of the canvas. So you might take this part and you might start embroidering the leaves here or something like that, but it's up to you. So I'm going to turn it to the wrong side, and then of course you will need a button, whatever size you think is good. I have this one. I don't like this color. It's kind of like a slightly greenish yellow, and don't like that color, so I probably will not use it for any project. So I'll use it for this. And in order for us to know how big a piece of fabric we need to cut out, you can, of course, you can eyeball this. I eyeball a lot of things when I craft, but I'll just show you what you can do. What you will need is a ruler. Mine is in centimeters because I'm in Europe. Yours, of course, might be in inches. Use whatever you have. Find the middle spot of your button and make an approximate measure how much it is from the middle of your button to the edge of your button. In my case, it's a little over 1 centimeter. So what I'll do with this now, I'll place it here in the middle of the fabric. I will very, very carefully measure that from the edge of my button and make a little mark. Now, I always mark it a little bigger. And turn. Do another one. Remember, if your button moves around a little bit here, it really doesn't matter. This is not rocket science here, and it doesn't have to be that exact approximate. So I'll just make a couple of marks here with my pencil. You don't have to have fancy fabric markers for this. A pencil is just fine. It's been moving a little, as you can see, but really no big deal. Okay, so now I have these markings, and what I'll do is just make a little ball out of them, or actually join them to form not a ball, a circle. Lost that word. A circle approximately there. Remember, doesn't have to be exact. Okay, take the button off. Now I will cut this off, and of course, in order for you to cut this easily, you will need fabric scissors. Again, this part, cutting out, not exact science either. we go. Now we need to do some fitting. Just like you buy a cloth, some kind of clothing, you need to fit it. You need to try it on. So let's try this on. Put the button in the middle and fold from the edges. This is good. If these folds overlap, I don't have a smaller button here, but let's imagine I had a smaller button there. And if they overlap like this, then you need to cut a little bit off from the edges, but this is just perfect. They should not overlap. They should come just like this. Let's try it the other way around too. Not overlapping. This is very good. This is perfect. Okay, so the next thing you will need is, this is optional. You can use a little bit of filling here. If you have this kind of filling that you use to make dolls, teddy bears, pillows, whatever, take a bit of that and put it aside for a moment. And the next step is to take a needle and some thread, and again you can see my beautiful knots. I always have horribly looking knots when I do that, but hey, that's my trademark. Okay, remember, we're working from the wrong side. Start a little bit off from the edge, put your needle in, and bring this horribly, hopefully yours looks better, this horrible looking knot here, and then start making small stitches here along the edge. Remember to leave a little bit of an edge there. And you can usually make this pretty quickly. Make several little steps at the same time. So it is actually at this point now that we need that filling. Like I said, you don't have to do this, but it makes it a little easier. So let me put this here in the middle, press it a little bit, and place my button on top. As you can see, it comes out a little bit, but okay, that doesn't matter. Then start pulling from your thread. Remember, you haven't made any knots yet. Just start pulling. Remember, you need to have good quality thread also, because some of the cheaper threads, they might snap here. Okay, so there we go. I have started to tighten it up. Place your finger there, it needs to stay tight, and then we need to obviously close this. So what I'm doing here is I'm going in. You can finish this any way you want to, but this is just the way that I do. I do a couple of knots, keep making sure that it's very tight all the time. Snap that off with my huge tailor scissors. Okay, you can move the fabric around a little bit. Now on this side, I don't usually put anything here, but you can do that. If you want to, you can glue something here. You can glue a piece of fabric here if you don't want to watch these folds or see them. I don't care about those. But anyway, here we have now an empty canvas, and since we put in a little bit of that filling, it's a little soft. Let me take my needle here. It's a little soft, and now that we are starting to sew all the beads in there, it'll be easier because you have a little bit of extra in there, as you see. So it'll be easier. But like I said, you can do this without the filling here. Okay, so now we have a blank canvas, and let's get on to part 2 of this tutorial, the actual embroidery.